I think we are live. Somebody says, I think this might be a short video. It's a stream, my friend. And we're just getting started. Even though I'm tired as crap, it's been really interesting to watch the price over the past few minutes here. The past hour or so. And I was thinking, should I not? And then I realized, you know what? With the severity at which Ethereum is starting to make a move here, it is worth it to get a little discussion going. Because for all of you that are unaware, yesterday I made a video explaining why ETH going on a 5% pump usually means the entire market is about to go wild. And ETH is now up another 5% or so, as it's up from 3,100 to 3,250. And that means that all our positions as well probably here are doing pretty good. Let's quickly take a look. So the ETH position of 2 days ago is up about 30%, which is nice. The 30K worth of ETH I bought yesterday is also up 10% or so. Yeah, so we have made another $3,000 or so on the money we bought yesterday, which is definitely not too bad. And ladies and gentlemen, nothing I say in this stream is financial advice. Nothing I cover here is anything but my own opinion. I will never make any guarantees to you. All we're doing is showing our journey, showing our results. And what we basically described yesterday in full detail was, let me quickly go back to it. And sorry if I sound a bit nasally. For some reason, I'm not feeling the best today. But what I was going to show you is ETH BTC. Here we go. I was basically showcasing that if you're buying ETH, this is my opinion, right? Below this price right here, so still below, I'm going to say roughly 0.03 BTC. And this is what we described yesterday, what I could potentially open yet another bot for, is that I think over the run, ETH versus Bitcoin will still make up for this. And right now, so you can't see. Unless we are trading above this price, which is still roughly about 50% away or so, I say we are still very much undervalued. Now, a few things to note. One, it's not as if everything happens overnight. It's not as if every single one of our coins just has to keep on going. I mean, right now we are seeing XRP go pretty nuts. As you can see, my position is 191 in the plus. And a few minutes ago when I was looking at the price, it was at $3. So I decided to take a bit of a look and see if the price all of a sudden is going to break out here. You know, it's sometimes quite interesting to watch. Let me just quickly blow my nose. But yeah, even though we are back to 297, it's kind of funny though that from a few days ago, it's already up so tremendously. There were a lot of people just over the past 48 hours or something like that who were screaming like, oh, but should I sell, should I buy? And I kept making videos explaining exactly what I would do. And it turns out that has been very, very much right. But we're still not really out of our range, right? Because XRP is still yet to break out above $3. And alts have still yet to make any real decisive move. I've just been explaining over the past, 3 days or so, ever since we went a bit crazier on this pump, that I'm buying, what my strategy is, all that. Let me just quickly lead you. Oh, see, the camera's come back down. You know what the funny thing is? If I can't angle my camera a bit down, it stays. But if I angle it a bit upwards or anything like that, it goes down. Or if I angle it sideways. So I'm going to angle it up a little bit. Let's see if it's going to stay this way. I think this is the lowest that it can go, so it'll stay. But it's going to look a little bit odd. I'm also really, really, how do you call it? Crooked. You know what? It'll have to do. Otherwise, too much hassle, too much troubles. So I was going to say that over the past few days, we have been making a few videos of that sort, right? Like, oh, it's all in Dutch. How do I change that? Give me a second. Let's change that to in English from the India. Oh, sounds amazing. Let's just do English from US. All right, so this is where I'm taking action. My 2025 bull run strategy explained. It's just a video like, I don't know, 12 hours ago explaining why I'm buying into this. Then this feels like it, where I'm explaining this ETH pump right now seems to be the precursor for many other coins starting a crazy rally. you're not ready. It's about to get really, really crazy. We've been saying that. This is in a different country, by the way. I moved countries again. We are yet again, though, in another hotel room suite, which is pretty nice. But regardless, must watch right now what's going on. Again, explanation of things are going down, but it's not really a bad thing. And that's what we've been doing over the past few days. Just explaining the opportunity that comes with the territory, which is if you sleep on one of these moves, you're going to potentially regret it forever. And that was the main principle of my video just last night, saying if the price goes up and you didn't buy the dip significantly, you hate yourself. If the price goes down very, very significantly and you didn't sell anything or you just really went in hard before, you also hate yourself. And that's why I often say to people, no choice you make is the best. Just think for yourself right now, what is easiest to minimize your regret? Because it's going to be different for everybody. But all I know about the situation is I always regret it when I didn't have enough. But some people, they're a little bit opposite. They mostly think, you know what, I prefer to never lose, which, it's a different strategy required. Who's here in the chat box today? What do we got? Don't you know, let's get nuts. Kuhn says, no way we are still in a downtrend. 3 is in the top of the downtrend channel. If we don't break clearly 3Q. All right. Don't you know let's get nuts? Do you think there will be a pullback or 290 will hold? It's just going to depend on Bitcoin. Like do you mean the pullback as in back to $2 or something like that or what? Because we just had a pullback. Like we literally are coming out of it right now as we speak. So to that angle, I'd say, what are you talking about? Because literally just last night, the price is what? Below 280 or something like that? Let's quickly look back at it. So, 279, 280, 82 maybe? 80, 81, 76, but that's too long ago. But anyway, in the last 72 hours, we saw like below $2.80 still. So, I don't know what you're talking about. Like right now, for XRP, we are back at the most crucial resistance. So, even though we touched it earlier, right, let's quickly see the highest of today was 3,007, right, it's just above 3 cents, or $3. We still have yet to clear these previous heights. So every single time you touch it, since the price right now is going pretty nuts, and a lot of people like to ignore this, they say, no, it's not what it is, right? We keep getting closer and closer to the $3 mark where either we break down or we finally cross the path. And the funny fact is, this blue line is $3.05 because really when you start looking at it from a broader angle, $3 wasn't even that significant of a level before. It just turned into one this season. But it still seems more likely for the price to trend upwards rather than downwards. But again, we're not 100% sure. We just take action with whatever happens at that time. Richard says, I'm only here when it's going good. Haha. Well, whatever. It's all good. Lucas says, it's crazy how far apart dollar and euro are. XRP is at 255. Yeah, sure. Just in, the White House officially says President Trump is likely to fire Fed Chair Jerome Powell. What is that statement? The White House officially says the president will probably do something. All right. Nice. That's good. What it do, Dusty? Holding like I'm climbing the Empire State Building without a harness. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. I'm not sure if that's like extremely hard or... AJ, stop pocket watching, brother. What are you doing? Don't be worried about another man's pockets, dog. That's a bit strange. Brian says, I got liquidated last dip. How? You mean like before? We haven't really even seen any dip at all. Like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the move from $3 to $2.79? Really? If you got wrecked right there, you've been playing the game a bit uncontrollably. That's crazy. And this guy also just keeps saying buzzwords. He's like work boots. I don't know how to translate this. Bike selling. What are you doing, dog? What is psychological warfare? What is going on here today? Hey, Dusty, what's up? What's up, XRP Bandit? Hey, so let's quickly do a roll call. Where's everybody watching from in the chat right now? And everybody, if you haven't done it yet, make sure you press that like button. We are at 32, even though we almost have 300 people watching. Let's get those going. And also, I gotta wake up. I've been awake for like 2 hours, but it's not working today. I feel like maybe I'm getting sick. We got Portugal, we got Canada, we got Arkansas, New York City, Rotterdam, Nijmegen, Thailand, Newfoundland. Is that California or is that Canada? I have no idea. Hello from South Detroit. Oh, are you on the toilet, dog? Detroit. I hope that's toilet. Israel, Holland, Belgium, USA, Scotland, Rotterdam, Denmark, Spain, back porch. All right. England, Music City. Is that a real thing? Ethiopia at work. All right. Alabama, South Africa, Nigeria, Ireland, California, Dublin, Huntsville, Alabama. I like that name. 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝗏. Huntsville. All right. Florida, Dublin, London, Cyprus, Dublin, Kanilstok. Yeah, we got. Oh, yeah. Oh, cabrón. This is not treating me well. And I wonder how it's blasting into the microphone as well. Somebody says you just walked 50 kilometers now chilling and watching your stream. What do you mean you walked 50 kilometers? You did not walk 50 kilometers. You mean over like a week? Or you mean in one day? What are you talking about? You walked 50? Wait, I need to pop out the chat again. How do I do that again? There we go. Let me find the best way to put this in. There we go. Ah, I see. The 4 days of walking, the Dutch tradition. So you walked it over like a few days. Okay. I thought somebody just walked 50 kilometers in like a day, and he's like, oh, I'm tired. I'm gonna watch a stream. Like, yeah, I bet you are. All right, how's things doing? So let's see. A few meme coins are up. What is the most up today? We got SPX. Actually, just ETH ecosystem that's performing the best. SPX, meme coin, really popular one. It's up 23% today. ENS is up 20.5% today. A coin I talked about just yesterday. Bonk. Okay, that's different, I guess. But Bonk maybe because Pump.fun was doing so well. Curve, again, ETH ecosystem, and Arrow. Some people are really going hard on Arrow just now the past few hours, but I don't know. Floki, it's not really my favorite coin, to be honest with you. It seems memes are doing really well here. I wonder why. Hey Dusty, what are you thinking of ETH at this moment? So I made a whole video about Ethereum yesterday, and my thoughts yesterday at 3100 were, well, if you take a look at it from the Bitcoin angle, it's still quite cheap, right? So I basically consider always to look at the 200 weekly moving average, and at this point we are significantly, or sometimes, let's take a look actually. Let's draw in a weekly moving average. How high would that one be for ETH in this case? Oh, I added a lot. Let's see. I'm not sure which one we have in here. Well, I think it's fine enough. We're still below any single one, actually, huh? The only one we are above are these two. Which ones are these? Interesting. The 9. Wait, why are these? Oh. So this is it. Which one is this? Oh, this is the 50 simple moving average. This is the weekly. Okay, so I guess it's even cheaper. Okay, my clicks are not working, guys. There we go. I should make this one even broader. Let's make it thick. A thick boy. So it's the blue line we were actually watching for. And it's kind of funny. We saw ourselves a pretty interesting cross before. So what this cross usually signifies, by the way, is that if you have the yellow line here, which are shorter term, 50, in this case week, but let's just say 50 day or 50 week prices, versus 200 weeks, and you see that the short term, so the yellow, is doing worse than the long term, you've basically got yourself a death cross, right? A very, very negative thing. Once this turns back around, you call that a golden cross. And sometimes people say that those are the easiest to trade if you buy in at golden crosses and sell at death crosses. But in this case here, it seems that you would have not been up that much had you gone for this, about 45% over a period of 3 years. I kind of feel as if you had indeed bought the crazy cross or the moment that we broke above the moving average, I guess could have also worked out just right there, or in this case even the 50 moving average. But the question is, would you sell every single time it went below? I think that could have actually worked out as well. I'm not sure. I don't want to back test it today, but I think perhaps for ETH. The funny thing is, right, with all these assets, whenever you're talking about strategies, the most important thing you have to keep in the back of your head is, first of all, I'm not a financial advisor, that's one. But second of all, that any single strategy that revolved around buying would probably have worked because they're up tremendously over the past season. So it's all like short-term things. Dusty, time to talk about our XRP bot. There is not that much to discuss on that front. Like, I'm not really adding too much to it. I'm just waiting. And Pango's doing really, really well. And the funniest thing is the grids that it's able to cash out here. That is insanity. Just insanity, insanity, insanity. Taking a look at the overview, let me just quickly give it a little refresh. There we go. Algorand is the only one that's still doing pretty freaking bad, but it's okay. Because from what it's been able to cash out, it's doing pretty well. Every other one is still printing. Even our Ethereum one, it's actually, funnily enough, one of the best performers over the past few days, the past 3 days or so. And a little fun situation is, how's my XRP doing? Let's see, are we close to compounding again? Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for yet another compound here. Here we go. So it is roughly 5% up right now. And as y'all know from my streams, I should be waiting a little bit, but hey, it's okay. We are compounding here the $10,000 to $1 million challenge. Oh, I am not in the best mood to explain this, but I'll do it regardless. I'll try my best here. So the situation is as follows. We try to compound every time it's up 5% with the goal of compounding 95 times to get to $1 million. Right now, this was compound number, I'm going to say about 18 or so. Maybe slightly below, maybe 17, 18. As right now we are at 23,321, starting at $10,000. But we are slightly below where we should be for the last compound. So I'm going to say this is about the 18th compound, or the 17th compound, getting us to level 18. I wonder how many people have joined me in this journey. Because I'll tell you right now, it's not going to be that easy of a journey, right? So if you are doing this with 10K in your balance, you have to understand also that if the market turns against you, this is going to be down tremendously. Because we keep buying it, keep buying it, keep buying it. So the reason this is so easy is because it's, let's say I have $1 million, right? That way, I personally think it's almost impossible not to turn this 10K into $1 million again. So it's good for making, on the side. But if I only had 10K and the market starts moving against you, you don't have that much room for well, I guess just a price drop. Because you can see right now we're already down like $150 in just like a minute. Yep. So where did I put the chat? Where did I do that? What did I do with the chat? Let me quickly find it because I pushed it to the side and now it's lost in all my tabs here. What did I do with that? Oh, here we go. 7 likes. Yeah, so this is what he's saying is basically if you've not pressed it yet, make sure you press that like button because Well, it seems to me that overall people join in and they enjoy 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓, but they just sometimes forget to press that button. So if I sometimes, remind them every now and then, it just might help get those likes up there. And so I sometimes do. Appreciate you, Bandit. Very nice for reaching for helping out here. So let me just quickly see. Pump Fun is interesting. So it's up actually pretty tremendously as well. Like, some might argue these numbers are not that crazy, but to me it is. Because this right now means that every single person who got into that pre-sale is up 50%, which I'd say is overall quite good for the market. If this were to crash really hard, obviously that could be doing a little bit of damage everywhere, but generally speaking, this is pretty nice to see for all of us, even if you're not holding pump. Jeff Jerick says 12x long on XRP. I'm afraid. If you're afraid, then you're either doing it with too much size, or maybe you're not in the right mindset, because I'm never afraid with any of the positions I've got open. But especially with the bot situation, it's just, in my opinion, so easy. There's almost nothing I got to do or nothing I got to think about, and it's just continuing on and on and on. Now, I will tell you that this can and will get way, way, way crazier over time. And this is both sides, right? The amount of money it will drop in a day is going to be way crazier. The amount of money I think that will be up in a day is way crazier. But the reason I'm saying that is because people keep thinking that this is it. We are talking every day about the signs of an altcoin season. We are talking every day about this might be it, this might be it. You got to realize that, in my opinion, very shortly here, the amount of money that the market will go up and down and just move or something like that within a day is eventually going to be so crazy that you'll just look back and think, oh, these are such easy times. Oh, this was so... Because I made a few videos saying, soon enough, you'll probably not be able to sleep. You know why I made that video? Because I've been here throughout all these seasons. So I realized that the crucial thing you got to understand is that this is nothing yet. The pumps are nothing, the dumps are nothing. If you're afraid of a 5% correction, oh boy, should you prepare yourself mentally for what's about to happen in the next few months. You guys think Powell about to be fired? Let's go take a look at that. Let me open up Twitter, because I saw a few people post about it, but I didn't get the full detail. All right. Coins are pumping again. You can quit tweeting like AI slop bots and... What is this? That's nice. Let's see. 40 million worth of ETH shorts liquidated in the past 60 minutes. Murad's portfolio just hit a new all-time high of 56.9 million. After half a year, Murad has broken his previous portfolio all-time high set in January. He went from 50-some mil to 12 mil, right now back to 56, so that is indeed pretty nice. Yeah, let me just go look up what I was looking up. So let's look up about Powell, yeah? Oh. Gold prices are going absolutely parabolic as the White House says Trump is likely going to fire Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Gold and Bitcoin have been telling us this for months. 19 minutes ago, the White House says President Trump is likely going to fire Fed Chair Powell soon. The statement brings up many questions ranging from legality to its implications to the market. Nope, unless there's clear evidence of misconduct or failure to perform duties, the president does not have the legal authority to dismiss the Federal Reserve Chair before the end of their term. I don't know. It's an interesting predicament. It's hard for us as newbies as well to say if he's really been doing a bad job because we don't see the innards of it. So I don't know. I feel as if a lot of those guys would have probably taken the same, or if not, even worse take. I'm not sure if Fed Chair Jerome Powell is in that sense really, really bad at his job. But from a certain angle, I also do not know if we, as people who are very much outside of it, can decide monetary policy better than somebody whose life it has been, right? And if you're wondering why I sometimes keep muting the mic, it's because I'm sneezing. And I remember when I used to be on stream just eating and sneezing and things, and people would get so angry that I realized, you know what? Maybe it's better if I indeed mute it sometimes. But I would say we have officially, by the way, hit my 200K target for the XRP position. And to some extent, I'm thinking, you know what? I can also be kind of happy here. Cash out the 200K, buy like a new watch or like a new car or something like that. And just be satisfied. But I'm thinking, we're going to take this one so much further. How can I be so weak to get out here? Why am I saying that? Well, because I already know myself. I'm going to feel so much FOMO if the price does indeed pump up. And if we go down, I just feel like, we got to wait a bit longer. And it tends to be, in my opinion, one of those easier things, which is if I'm holding through, I can see this go from plus 200K to minus 100 or something. I'll be fine. But exiting it now for a measly 200,000 US dollars and then seeing it go plus like 1.5 million, and I prefer to just take my chances here and just go for it. Matter of fact, I kept saying I think it's still too small. I'm still a bit annoyed by that idea. Same thing for all the positions, really, and that's the fun thing. My friend Miles said it really, really well yesterday, and it goes along the lines of whenever the market is going down, you feel like you were overexposed. You bought too much. The market is going up. You have this FOMO. You feel like you should have bought more. I don't have that too much no more. I don't feel as if I should. The only thing is, if I'm quite certain the market is going to move up here, which I am, then I should also have solid positions just for fun. But for example, this $1 million almost XRP position, I'm pretty comfortable at. Like, it's not too small. Only thing I prefer for it to be around $1 million number, or potentially just a nicer number in terms of XRP, right? Because it's okay. Don't get me wrong. It is okay, but I prefer it to be a bit crazier even. But the ETH positions, when I really start adding them up, on Bybit and Blowfin, our public trades are only, I think, like maybe 250K long or something like that. And then I'm thinking, it's ETH, right? And why did I open a 3x? Why did I do it crazier? Well, the reason I did 3x is because you sometimes want to just keep your sanity. And the price does indeed move down. It is sometimes nicer. Or, it depends. If I'm not going to do a higher amount of total anyway, then it doesn't change. So for example, I could actually now change this 10x on XRP to 3x, and not that much would change because all I do is add, instead of 90K margin, I'd add 100 or 200 and some K margin, 270K margin. Oh, camera's stuck, I see. Let me fix that. Oh, can I fix that? Let me turn it off and on. I'll switch to USB. Let me turn it off and on. Dusty, do you think the crypto bills will pass today? I don't know. I just know that Trump said they tried it, and a lot of them said no. And then he said, I've had a good talk with them. They'll say yes this time. But I'm not sure how often those votes happen. Also, I'm not too worried about all that because I don't really care how those regulations go. Like, after the fact, they're all important, but I don't think any of them is going to be that big a pump deal. Because, I mean, BlackRock's ETF, for example, already went to the top one, right? The top one most profitable ETF. I don't think one bill is going to change that much of the investor landscape. It's just like a nice announcement, like a nice backing. Let's see. Mr. E says, most of us here happy when we can add $50 worth of XRP, and we got y'all talking about millions of dollars. Let's be humble and remember the small guy, please. My brother, if you think I treat people differently or I'm not appreciative of $50, I think you're very much mistaken. All we're doing here is relative. If you're doing this with 1/1000th the size, so if I'm doing 1 million, you're doing 1,000. Matter of fact, you're doing 10. Everybody has their own journey. I'm not going to be here sitting saying, ha ha, Your numbers are not worth my presence. Peasant, get out of my circle. No, it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter. It's all relative. Somebody can look at this stream and really, trust me when I say that, a lot of my friends will look at this and think, what are you talking about? Why would you even open a $15,000 position on virtuals or something like that? So it's all, I understand every single part of that. Now, if somebody's talking about $50 and they're happy to buy, I'll be happy for you as well. So here, okay, so app says, Dusty, I also want to use one of the platforms you're using, Pionex in this case, but it keeps asking me for ID. So let me just say one thing. I just got a new list of all the countries that are allowed and some of the countries that have like requirements. So let me say this. A lot of these crypto platforms, if you're in, for example, Canada or Australia or something like that, you could probably use like everything, right? Because almost any one of these platforms is just easy to use. In many other countries like the US, and a few others, all you need to do is use a VPN to use almost any one of these platforms. I think Netherlands also might be in the camp where you need to use a VPN to use the platform. It could be, because I'm not seeing it here in the list. There's a lot of countries there. Germany, South Korea, Malaysia, Australia, Italy, Argentina, Brazil, Indonesia, France, Spain, Japan, Thailand, Vietnam, UAE, Poland, Switzerland, Mexico, Colombia, Austria, Portugal, Belgium, Romania, Greece, Hungary, Czech, Bulgaria, Bahamas, Peru, Finland, Norway, Ireland, Israel, Slovakia, New Zealand, Denmark, Palau, Russia, Singapore, UK, Sweden, Iceland, Croatia, Luxembourg. For all those, it's just very, very easy to use the platform without a VPN. And that's for many other exchanges as well in different countries. If you're asking me, can I change nothing? It's not like it's my platform, brother. I cannot change anything for you. All I can do is tell somebody that they need to go help you. But it's literally the same as going to customer support and asking them, hey, I'm not from one of these countries. I just logged in with the wrong, IP ones. Can you please reset the KYC? On a lot of platforms, there's KYC 1 and 2. The requirements are different. On some platforms, KYC 1 is just a name and a country. But if you put a country that's not allowed, it's going to require you to do KYC 2, which you then cannot do. If you did the KYC 1, and you just put one of the countries I just mentioned, like freaking you put UAE, right? Which is where I'm living. And you always put your VPN to any country that's allowed, Australia, whatever, you're fine. So somebody's saying Netherlands is not in there. Yeah, if you're in a country that's not in the general list, then you need to use a VPN. Or it will auto-detect, and then you need to contact the support and say, hey, you know what, I used the wrong IP, blah, 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 can you please reset it? I've had it myself a few times as well, which I know is kind of cumbersome, kind of annoying, but hey. Oh, my friend just texted me that if you are in Netherlands, you don't want a VPN. Apparently on 𝗏𝗏𝗀, which is the one you're seeing right here, you can actually also use the bots. I don't even know where they are here. You can actually perhaps use a bot without needing the VPN in Netherlands. So maybe I can also get one of those going. Oh. Do you guys like watches? What exchange can be used in the UK? I think even Pionex can be used in the UK without any issue. But that's the thing, right? A lot of exchanges, I think almost anything can be used if it's not in KYC with a VPN. But it depends on what type of functionalities you like. For example, when in 2018, maybe 2017, somewhere in the start, Coinbase was really coming up. It was really, really cool. Until people realized, there's actually not that many benefits. The fees are kind of ridiculous for the average user. I mean, you've got Coinbase in a few different tiers, right? You can also use the pro part. But most people I know don't use that. And if you want to buy and sell crypto through it, it's so ridiculously stupid, the fees. It's just not nice. The same thing for the fact that Coinbase has many issues with freezes and this and that and this and that. So a lot of people don't like it for that reason. And again, if somebody asked me like a while back, I would always say like, oh, Coinbase is a really, really nice one. That changed then over to Binance. Binance was one of my favorite exchanges for a long time until I realized they don't really update that well. The features they've got is good for some basics, sure, but then a lot of countries also were kind of left out. And I realized, like I said, if you're using an exchange, you want mostly just every single feature you've got. Now, for simple trading, I always used to use Binance, but then all of a sudden I realized, oh, Bybit is a bit better. I started using Bybit as my main exchange, and that was like for 3 years or something like that, from 2021, I think, all the way. So again, it was Coinbase first that I loved the most. There was 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔, 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗪 that were awesome also in between. There's a few other ones that were small, but then Binance was the main one. It took over in 2017, somewhere at the end. And 2018 was really amazing. 2019, 2020 was, the market was a bit down. All of a sudden, then it was Bybit for a few years. There's been some KuCoin action. A lot of BitMEX action, by the way. BitMEX was the GOAT in the 2018 run as well. And now it became more a matter of, well, there's new features that a lot of these exchanges are not going for. There's a problem that if I go on Bybit, most of my people cannot copy because Bybit has only very few countries that it allows. And so that's an issue. And then I realized I think it's better if I talk on platforms that almost anybody can join, but also are, I guess very well known. So if I could go for a sketchier platform, I think that is allowed everywhere. But I think the problem with that is that, if nobody else is using it, if none of my friends are using it, if I don't know the founders, if I don't know the people close, or you might never know the real founders. Even when it comes to some of the major companies, do you really know who's behind it for sure? Like, do you know? Especially if it's some sketchier thing. Like if we're talking in the billions and billions of dollars, I think some sketchy things sometimes do happen. But anyway, you get what I'm coming from, right? Dusty, which bull run did you become financially set for life? I think that is a really hard question to answer because theoretically speaking, I can mess up with just one move and all of a sudden I'm wrecked forever. And in a certain sense, if Bitcoin goes to zero, Bitcoin goes to zero, I'm still not going to have a fun time. 𝗏𝗍𝗃 I use. 𝗏𝗍𝗃 is like the worst exchange out of all of them. That's garbage. Oh my days. Oh, 𝗏𝗍𝗃, no. I despise that platform. It's disgusting. Ew. Spit on that. For now. Maybe they'll get some new updates going. 𝗏𝗏𝗀, I don't like 𝗏𝗏𝗀 either anymore. Like I've used it for a few months, but it's just okay. No, 𝗏𝗍𝗃 is ass. Roland says, my TP hit at $3. Now I'm 20K richer, huh? You know what's also a really nice thing? I think here, actually, we could play the game of trying to sell at $3 consistently. Because it seems to be that, when we were talking before about buying at $2 consistently, if we just kept it up, it almost always works. I'm not making guarantees, but I'm just explaining what has happened recently. It feels as if right now, if we just try to sell at 3, the only negative thing is that one time we might sell and all of a sudden it breaks through. But thus far, we could have had multiple chances to sell there, actually. Nicholas, coming with the 10 pounds, interestingly enough, says, let me give that a little like. Appreciate that, Nicholas. What are your views on Jerome Powell news going around that he might get fired? So this fired part, if you're being very specific, it seems to us that we're not sure if he could get fired. Like, what is the legality of being fired? Now, there are a lot of signs, though, that he might retire, might leave. But then again, I always say the same thing when it comes to any of these, let's call them political, let's call them monetary, fiscal policy leaders, that even the president changing is not necessarily a positive or a negative thing. Because whatever they left with could have actually been better than whatever comes in next. So Nicholas says, it might be getting true as the 30-year US yield is moving violently and the market is starting to react. Possible move on crypto? Well, to counter it, I would say it might very much be true as there are a lot of signs that he might leave. Whether or not he's going to retire or just, quit or get fired is the more interesting question at hand. But whether or not it's positive is a very, very different question. I do not know why people look at these and think, oh yeah, this is what we need to see happening. This is what we want right now. But also, I don't know, Trump says a lot of things. Him now saying, no, we're going to fire this guy, we're going to get him out. Just because he said it doesn't mean he will actually be the one to get it done. He could also just be taking credit for it. But you are right. We are seeing the treasury yields go up tremendously. Then again, it's not as if that's a new trend. Look at the year, right? It's gone from 4 to 5 throughout the year. It's not necessarily seen the craziest spikes just now. 0.033. It's good, but I'm not sure if these are so much connected. OSD says, too bad we are dumping a bit. I wouldn't say that. What do you mean dumping a bit? Like, are you talking about Bitcoin or what are you talking about, my friend? Are you talking about XRP? Jeffrey says he can't be fired. I think you'd be surprised how much people like to bend rules, right? And go on technicalities or something like that. But at least as far as I've read, he can't be fired indeed. But then again, I will never say never. Maybe Gary Gensler can take over his job. Yeah, that would be something. You know, Gary Gensler, I don't think is even a bad person. But perhaps he's just money hungry in that sense. And he just wants the crypto space to be as regulated as possible. And but in reality, it could also be he's just too much of a grandpa. He understands crypto in a certain sense, but he really just does not believe that this is going to take over, and he thinks it's too much of a Ponzi scheme. You know what? I disagree with him, but if he wants to say that. Pepe also says, brother, Powell can't be fired. Trump is always blabbing. I agree with y'all. I mean, there is no way in which he could be fired unless they find, some strict misconduct or 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗲𝗪. But again, I'll never say never. I think it's most of what's going to happen is he's just going to leave, Jerome Powell, and then Trump is going to take credit for it. Thoughts on an XRP dump to the 160 range? I don't think that's happening anymore. Like, I would prefer if it did, because that would be a juicy entry, especially now that the market has confirmed we are going to see a bull run this season. At least to me, I feel as if that's what's happened. But I don't feel as if 160 is even remotely close for XRP. Thailand Chip says, Dusty, which exchange do you think is good for leverage trading and why? So there's a few things I look at, but my own personal preference comes in, where is the communication the best? Where can I help the most? And where do I not find them sketchy? So there's a lot of platforms where if none of my friends are using it, I'll stay away very much so. For example, the one I'm using here, 𝗫𝗏, a lot of my friends are using. I know a lot of people in there, solid. If something is going wrong or something like that, I can get stuff done. Not like directly too much, but at least there's a way through it. And I've said before, it does not matter the size. There are bigger platforms where you can get shit done as well, like for example Binance. They are also pretty good support they've got over there. Bybit is awesome. But then again, for example, Coinbase, they're huge, but quite ass when it comes to customer support previously. Maybe things have changed. But for example, a large platform like YouTube, customer support, I want to put up 2 double middle fingers because they're freaking ass. All right, they do not care about helping nobody. But then again, when it comes to leverage, I also like the UI. Binance UI is also ass. I don't like what it looks like. 𝗫𝗏 looks really, really good. And actually, fun fact, when it comes to some other overviews on the back end, 𝗫𝗏 is one of the best ones. I would still, if my heart is speaking, I do like Bybit the most for almost anything. But Bybit cannot be used in almost any country nowadays. So that's why I sometimes go for platforms that more people can use. WeX is nicer because even more people can use it, but the UI is slightly worse. It looks beautiful though. But I think 𝗫𝗏 is neutrally one of the best ones right now. I think a lot of people are not using it yet, but still, also when I look at the competition, a lot of some of the most important, most used traders, most known traders I should call it, have been. I wonder what position we ended up with here in the competition. Because it didn't happen on a good XRP end day that all of a sudden it ended. Let's see here real quick. We ended up at the 11th spot. That's a bit sad. If the market was moving up that day, we'd be a lot higher. But that's, can happen to the best of us. I think we still did good. I'm still pretty proud of the team here. And then for the bots, Payonex thus far is the best one I've found. But, those things also change over time. Ruland says, hey, Dusty, ETH ecosystem is pumping, went largely to stable coins. Wait. Yeah, he says because mostly the stable coins are on ETH. I don't know if that's the main reason it's pumping, but sure. Timothy says, Dusty, tell us, how much money do you really have in the bank? I'm curious, 5 million? Why are you guys pocket watching so much? OSD says, why are you so busy with XRP? I think XRP and now ETH, funnily enough, are some of the most, or are you talking to the Pepe guy? I was going to say, are some of the most undervalued assets in this current landscape. I mean, honestly, I think you can make a good return on almost any coin in like a few months span, especially if this is the season. But even as you've seen with the way I've set up my bots, you still got to size in differently to different ones depending on your conviction. Because if I'd gone for a full 10K bot on Algo in that higher price, we'd right now be down, 30% on that. Obviously, that would have been more annoying than being down 25% or something on only a 1,500 bot. Of course, we explained this in the strategy why we went small, etc., etc. But have you heard of 2bit? It's an exchange. Bro, there's a 99% chance that if you're talking about an exchange, that I know it very well. Because obviously, I do this every single day. I know every exchange. I've met with any exchange you could probably imagine. If you know it, there's a 98% chance, unless it's like a freaking local exchange only in Poland or something like that, that I'll know it, that I've met with the people, that I've sat down, that I've talked with them, that I understand the ins and outs. So also, Pepe says this. This is not an offended thing. I never take offense. But this is for fun. If Dusty had $5 million in the bank, he wouldn't be here. And one counter I'll give is that the amount of people who have, let's say, $500 million that are still making videos out there is quite large. I mean, fun people never say this about actors, for example. You look at an actor and you never really think, oh, this guy might actually be a billionaire or something close to it. But nobody ever looks at freaking who? Johnny Travolta or whatever. Pick a name of a famous actor. It's like, oh, if he was so rich, he probably wouldn't be doing movies. Well, I mean, he gets paid $120 million per movie if he wants to. Or another way, some of them do movies for almost free because, well, if they are passionate about it, they do that. So it's simple always to assume, people that are here must be broke, because it's not necessarily true. You can look at Chris or Crypto, for example. You can look at Carl. How much have they made in a season, right? I'm just guessing, but you can say maybe one of those seasons they make $100 million in 1 year. Bam. They're still out there trying to make more. Oh, if he what? How are you? What are you basing that on? Ran, right, from Crypto Banter. How much money has he got in the bank? What, 250 million, maybe 400 million? I don't know. Okay, maybe not 400. It's probably a lot less than that. Let's say 150 million, maybe. He's still grinding out every single day. Does he have to? No. Do I have to? No. Do I like it? Yeah. So I don't know. You cannot really assume anything. I could be here with $7 in my name doing this. You could be here with $2 billion doing this. I don't think it matters. I don't think you can know from anything. Even another funny thing, you cannot even know from trade size at all either. Because some people are out here with so much money and they're just afraid to lose it. They just like to make some. I know people that have so much more than me and they don't like to fly first class or business class because they're like, it's a waste. And then some people that earn like $5,000 a month and they fly, more expensive. There's people who I see when I'm going out for dinner, I don't really mind whatever the price is at, right? But there's still people who are spending way more. They're like, yeah, let's order that. I'm like, nah, that's quite expensive. Not because I care about the price, it's because it's the relative value that it gives. And then again, I realize somebody could be going to a club, spending 10 times more, and it could have 15 times less. You never know. But like Josh says, don't watch another man's pockets, right? If you're that busy with what somebody else has, you forget that it doesn't matter. There are so many billions of people in this world. Whatever they have, it don't matter to you, all right? It doesn't matter. America First says he lost his hand in Luna. He has 0. No, he's doing pretty good, my friend. Crypto guy says, Dusty, should I? Let's skip that. Let's change that sentence. Should you? That's all on you, brother. Would I, Dusty, add to my leverage trade on a breakout of XRP? Yeah. I mean, it depends on how large the size is and what your typical risk profile is like. Me personally, I don't think it's a bad thing. But then again, Are you talking about once it really breaks above 3? I think that's, again, one of those opportunities where, indeed, it may work out really, really well to either sell into the $3 mark, and then actually, if we do manage to break out above it, especially with some Bitcoin or ETH support, then actually add to the long. It could work out nicely. A lot of people will be doing that. Missed my first class flight, flew out 14-hour flight, next day economy. Damn. All right. Well, he didn't say anything bad about 2-bit. Cool. No, I don't like 2-bit. 2-bit is ass. I don't use 2-bit. If I don't use it, it's garbage in my book. But it's not objectively true. But I just don't like it. You know. Senate floor starting, it seems. You know, I want to stream it, but the last time I streamed the hearing with with BG, my stream got taken down. So I'm a bit afraid to cover anything political in that sense. I don't want to stick it with a freaking 45-foot pole just to be sure that they don't take my channel down. And for all of y'all that don't remember, you know, sometimes I look here and think y'all are very supportive. Sometimes I think, oh, you know, a lot of y'all are not as... Why? Because I did ask a few times, hey, if you can take a minute or so, maybe just try and help out by going to the comment section of this post. I'll retweet it again. Under repost again. And just tag YouTube creators and Team YouTube. I'm going to refresh. And see this number not going up by tremendous amounts every single time I ask. Which, again, is not bad because I know some people that are, you know, might not have an account or something like that. But I am afraid that eventually they're just going to take it down and they don't respond. They don't give a crap. It's got 250,000 views. But I think the amount of comments, the amount of engagement is quite low. That's why it's not really working. Because normally, only when I have 40,000 views, they used to respond. But that's why I'm saying we gotta try a bit harder. Because basically what happened is I was streaming the Brad Garlinghouse hearing, not really talking about anything too specific, just like a normal stream would look like, and they took it down saying it's harmful and dangerous. So I appealed saying, why would it be harmful and dangerous? We didn't talk about anything strange at all. And, well, they said, deny. But the problem is, that can happen once, that it's not a big issue. But if it happens a second time, you cannot upload for a week. I don't mind, right? Not being able to upload for a week is strange, but okay. The second time, not able for 2 weeks. And the third time, your channel is gone. And the problem is, I've had my channel deleted twice, or maybe 3, I think twice before. I've had strikes many, many times. And it's just hours and hours and hours of trying to fix it. And, well, there's no YouTube support, nothing. All you can do is just spam them on Twitter. That's the only thing you can do. But the problem is, if you don't do it now, soon enough it'll be too late. So if I don't tackle it at the root, what happens is they just, for example, back in 2019, they took 500 of my videos down, and they were just bundling the claims together, so there's almost no way to appeal it. And I realized back then, man, all right, if you're not there having a solid bond with people to support you, you're done. And a lot of people, they just leave and never return because you can also never make another YouTube channel. Once they ban you, you're done forever. Blockchain Services, what's up, my brother? What's up, man? Ram says, tuning in for the daily vids. Thanks for the grind, Dusty. I think, you know, some people look at this as a grind, and I say streaming, for example, is kind of like a grind because you really have to sit here a long time. But on the opposite side, when you take a look at it from a multi-month angle and take a look at that from the fact that we just have, like, what, 6 more months to go of really, really crazy price action after it's going to be so quiet, I realize that right now is that build-up time where everybody is like unsure, but soon enough it'll be a FOMO only time and no more sleeping. So right now that I can have still a normal conversation and not be too out of it, you know, I like to take my time here. Oh, it's thesis. To give an example, I work in construction with enough money on the bank to go on vacation for a couple of years, but it's still go to work every morning. All right, that's good. Not sure exactly why you're telling me that, but hey. You know, no, I'm joking. That's good to know, man. Ryan says, yo, what's up, Dusty? What's up, man? Bitcoin Maxi YouTuber moderator did it. You never know, but it doesn't matter, right? Let them do whatever they want to do. So what's going on here? Oh, so it's actually interesting now that a lot of these altcoins are moving up while the S&P has been moving down, huh? Algorand stopped. T-Rex is hopefully continuing his rally further. XRP still looking juicy. XLM. Oh. Slowly but surely after hitting resistance, also making its way back up, huh? This is the Bitcoin pair for XLM. That's nice to see. This is the altcoins as a market cap, right? So it's basically everything except for ETH and Bitcoin. Also continuing on. And again, one thing I keep telling people is this Bitcoin chart. You know it by now, but I'll still say it one more time. What we basically describe is if you had gone crazy into every single breakout of Bitcoin, the same thing probably applies for XRP as well. It would have done really, really well over time. When XRP hits $4, you have to jump back in a pool live. You know, the problem is, ladies and gentlemen, right now, you can't really see it. I can maybe show you just a little bit of what it would. Let me just show you like a little. Wait, this is going to be a bit awkward, but like what it looks like is a hotel room, and then over there is like the bedroom, right? It's in there. It's just a nice bedroom, bath, all that stuff. I always try to get the suite that has some functionality, some nice things with it. But sometimes you don't have that. And you know, we're doing good, but not that good. Or you always get the presidential or something like that. It's usually just executive suite or just one above it, one around that. But this is just the best they've got. There's no pool, right? There's the ocean, like 1 minute walk, 30-second walk, 15-second walk. But sometimes if it's ground floor, this is the highest floor you can get. If it's ground floor, sometimes there's a pool. In the Maldives, we had a pool. In Mauritius, we had a pool. Here, no pool. I can jump in the tub, but I don't know about that. All right, it's a bit strange seeing another man jump in the shower live. You know what I mean? Like, or jump in on the in the hot tub or something like that. It's a bit strange. No people in your room today? Sometimes you guys are interesting. How do you know who's in this house with me? How would you comprehend? How do you have any idea? Where in the world are you, Dusty? I'm still in South America. South America. I just posted on TikTok where I was at just now. We were in Buenos Aires. So there was this one guy who was saying, "Oh, I'm from Argentina watching." And I was saying like, "Oh, you know, we're closer than you think." Because I was in Argentina just then. Right? We were in Buenos Aires, which was awesome. Oh, that's a beautiful city, man. And before that, we were in Chile, in Santiago. I went skiing like a few days ago, right? That was also amazing, amazing. Did you hear it just now, the sneeze? Just now, that's funny. This guy says, "You're sneezing." I can hear the sneeze just now as well. Santiago, there's a great Star Wars bar. All right, not that much into Star Wars bars, but regardless, Santiago was super, super nice. Like, amazing, top tier. Buenos Aires was amazing also, just really, really different than what I imagined. Costa Rica was awesome. Panama was different than I expected, but I had some good friends over there. Where else did I go? Yeah, Mauritius was cool. LA was nice. Vegas was nice. I've just been traveling, just going Mexico, went to Cancun, went to Mexico City. Yeah, I've been to a lot of places in the last 2 months or so here. Argentina was super nice. Let me quickly see. I was where were we in Argentina? I'm forgetting what I just left there like yesterday. Why did I forget what the hotel was like? I can seriously not remember my hotel room now. Oh, yeah. Okay, so the hotel room was not that crazy, but it had a super nice view. I remember now. Oh, and I remember as well, there was so much police, so many protests the last few days. But just, I'm looking through my pictures now of Argentina. Really, I gotta admit. Okay, maybe this is not the best to show on YouTube. Let me find a different video that's not political. I was gonna show you guys what I was where I was staying at, what the view was like. But then I realized, maybe I shouldn't post that video. You know what? We'll go watch a drunk man. I think that's okay. I was filming a drunk man because that was quite a funny. Let me airdrop it. Let me show you real quick what it looked like. Ah, it's sideways. So you can't see it perfectly, but I was just stalking a drunk ass man who was walking around because that was so freaking hilarious. But this is where the hotel room is at, so it's super nice where you could just see on that freaking, I don't know what this is supposed to be, like a little pyramid thingy. Yeah, I don't know how to turn a video around, by the way, if you're wondering. So anyway, awesome. Around town says, if you're ruining a few screens and have YouTube on, but not subbed, it'll say when it started and how many are watching. Not sure exactly what you mean with that. Writing with Beads says, what's your target for XRP? Most people are saying 5 to 7. I think 5 to 7 is extremely low. Like, I'll be really, really happy when it happens, right? Not making guarantees. These are just my thoughts. But I don't feel as if it's high enough for it to be worth it. Let me see here real quick. What's going on right now? Let's see. You know, it's funny that actually throughout the last few hours, we've not been volatile at all. Like, we're slowly but surely climbing up, and I'm loving to see it. Trust me when I say that. But if you really look at it, it's not really been doing too much. If I, by the way, was starting out new, even now, I'm just thinking, man, right? I already have $1 million worth of bots open, but I should just be going harder. Like, for example, Algorand here, it's not one of my favorite cryptos, but even then, I'm thinking these bots are so minimal. I should have a few ones that are stacked. And the same thing for Hyperliquid, the same thing for ETH, the same thing for any one of these. But the problem is, you know, you got to always make sure it's relative to your account size. If your account starts to fall 20% down, will you be able to manage it, right? And now, the account is a pretty large sum, and I can, of course, deposit more money. But I also understand the principle of being overexposed if the market were to come crumbling. So, for example, with XLM, I told y'all, mentally, I really just want to go and press compound on it. But I think because a lot of people are copying my strategies here, I don't think it's a wise thing to show people to compound, especially not at higher prices. Will it work out nicely? It very often does. But of course, you got to understand that it will still be gritting out, it will still be cashing in, it still be doing its course, even towards the 91 cent mark. And by the way, if you're seeing an end mark that's really close in sight, for example, if we go to my, let me quickly find one where it's close. This one is still pretty far away. If we look at my BTC bot, right? The end is 134. You got to understand that that's the last point at which it'll actively buy and try to sell, basically, or at least mostly buy. The thing is, and what a lot of people don't understand, we can change this, but the higher we are in terms of price, the more it'll buy relatively. So I said before that I need to change this price range eventually to probably about maybe like $89,000 or so. And then on the opposite side, potentially like 150. But the reason I don't like to do that too much is because everybody who's in the bot, I also wanted to change the quantity to slightly higher so we could just have a bit more. I don't know why I had it so low. I nowadays never do a bot under the 460, 470 mark. But that's besides the point. I need to increase this lower limit. Why? Because right now it's not really going hard into the position, and I'm wasting it a little bit by having my limit so low. A limit of 58,000 per Bitcoin, I think, is just, oh my screen is a bit stuck, but it's just too low. Remember, and I gotta understand, tell you guys how the bots work. What they do is they look at your price range, right? They look at the bottom, they look at the top, and I'm a bit stuck. I'll go back to this screen. Relative to where you are within this range, so for example, between 60 to 140, right? Okay, did they take the stream down again? Okay. Stress level 99. Did they ban my YouTube? Let's go to my email. Oh, we're still good. We're still good. I don't know why that happened. Alright. Strange. We're still good. Very odd why that sometimes happens. We're still good, so I don't know. And the stream here is not lagging today, it shows for me. It's fine. My internet here is pristine. Yeah, and 𝗵𝗲 has a really good point. He says, all this work you're doing when you can just long. Theoretically speaking, I'm not doing that much work because I could just open a bot as well. It's the same as longing, but just with a little bit more room to buy dips and for it to sell. Around says, I got 3 screens on my desk for trading, and my big screen, it's on YouTube, but is just on guest mode. Because you asked, how do we know how many people are watching? Oh. I didn't know I asked that because I understand you can. Maybe I asked where y'all are watching from, because you can always see, I think, how many people are watching. Even if you're not on guest mode, I think you can still see it. Oh, my light just went out, but it's okay. What was I saying though? Oh yeah, so in general, I just want to beef a lot of these up even more, but if there's one more thing that I learned throughout time, it's even though you expect the market to move up really, really hard, it is almost never worth it to put yourself in an uncomfortable spot to get even crazier longs going. I think almost every single one of the times, it's nice to get a position in if I had nothing, and then layer down if the market moves down. If it moves up, just be happy you're making gains. Even though it could be crazier gains, still be happy you're making gains. If we're talking, for example, at 𝗬𝗓, I'm looking at this thinking it's only a 9K bot. This is, looking at it relatively, it's kind of nothing, right? It could have been way more. I could have done 5x, yabba-dabba-doo. But at the time when I opened this 3 months ago, the times were not that nice. Things were volatile a lot, and it was probably at a loss for a good time. And now, it is up so much from the grids that it's easier for us to navigate this around. And we could, for example, cash out these grids and do stuff with it, but I don't want to do that because I obviously just want to make sure people know over time how much the grids have been able to do. So for if I was you, I would take those grids out and use them for something, me personally. But because I want to showcase this over time, that's why I'm not. But if I was you, I would never let those grids just sit in there. Just take them out and either reinvest or add as margin or whatever, or just keep it on the side, keep it out. But why would you just leave it there? It's just for me to showcase to people what these are able to do. Oh, boys, we're going. We're going. 299. Hey, so out of everybody watching, right, who here is actually holding XRP? And who's just here for the vibes and for fun? I wonder what the split on that is. Let me quickly grab a charger for that other light.
Alright, we got the light back in. Let's see. Whale holding. Never sold yet. 25%. Maybe, maybe not. I like that answer, Cray. Dusty, can we get some cheeks if we get to 310? Did I just read that right? I'm so disappointed in people sometimes. You know what? It is that XRP is going up. Otherwise, I would get back to this comment right there. Anyway, I'm in Oscar. I'm holding XRP in a long. Interesting. What is your honest top? There's no real like close top. Can we get 25 bucks? I mean, I've explained 1,000 times before why I think even like 10 bucks a coin, 15 is not that crazy. Tony says that's $3 is like 91 cents back then, had to be hit multiple times. Yep. So a lot of people might, but also makes sense, right? We just established earlier in the stream that even just selling at $3 consistently, like right here, right now, $2.99. This seems to have worked out really, really nicely for a lot of people. So they're going to keep trying it. A lot of people will be selling right here at $2.99, trying to buy back slightly cheaper and just keep it going. One of these times it won't work, but again, because people are looking at it from a dollar term, it's just about short-term opportunities, short-term trades. It's not too much about being right with your whole portfolio. I see I'm stuck and not the most admirable of screens. What's up, peeps? Is there a percentage of your spot XRP that you will never sell, Dusty? Yeah, a good chunk I will never sell. Like, percentage-wise, I'm not 100% sure, but a lot of those coins I would not sell at all, no. Just from the perspective that it doesn't make a lot of sense to do that, because what are you going to buy with it? Then again, right now I'm also in this stream thinking, even if we go to $3 right now, what do we achieve? It's just that the moment we break across 3 and we actually go with a maybe sizable pump, it might be a pretty quick journey to a way higher price, which is why I like to watch it. But then the opposite side, I'm also thinking if we're not going to do nothing, and I mean, Bitcoin is right now not going on a crazy pump. Let's see what ETH is doing here. ETH is going on a pretty good rally though, 32.50. But I was going to say, if we're not going to change nothing, if we're not going to do too much, it's almost a waste of our time to be too close to it. It's nice to see our XRP long is above $200,000 though now. That is indeed quite nice to see. So we cashed out about 6,000 and it's plus 197-ish, so plus $202,000 on that. That is pretty amazing. But still, it's nothing for where it's supposed to be over the next few days or weeks, right? It's nothing. This is a big nothing burger. People have gotten too uncomfortable, or too comfortable with how do you call it? It's too comfortable, I'd say, with meh prices. But all of a sudden, once things start rolling, they could get rolling really, really hard, really, really fast. This is like edging level 99. Like the highest degree of edging I'm seeing right here. This is ridiculous. Solana's pumping? Finally Solana, huh? Oh. Do I have a big SolBot? I don't have a big SolBot either, huh? We only have the 3K, 3X. We should also get a new Solana. You know what? Right now, we've done two things this stream. One is we compounded the 10K to a million challenge. And what I'll also be doing right now is opening yet another Solana bot. I feel like doing that. So why I'm doing that? Well, because I feel... Oh, wait a minute. No, I have two already, don't I? Wait a minute, Dusty, don't get yourself hyped up too much. Okay, so we have the bull run sold bot, which is 3,000 times 5. So we have a 15K long. And then we have the Solana bot. It's plus, that's 3K times 3. So we've got about 9,000 and about 15. So still quite small. You know, the fun fact, I also want to open another ETH bot because it's still too little. It's only 15K. But I could just add to it as well, by the way. I could just add more investment. But the problem comes when you do that, when you add, for example, more investment through this method, like right here. The problem with this is that you are taking it away from your better looking price. So the grid profits will theoretically speak in half, and your unrealized profit also is basically gone depending on how you go about this. But I can show you just for fun. If I were to add, for example, 5,000, let's just see for fun. You can see, oh, yeah, so the only thing it did now in this case is increase our price ever so slightly, our average price, and as of this point, just lower our grid profits in terms of percentage. But I actually expected it to be a little bit worse, but then maybe that's because we're not adding that high of a price difference. Right, our start price is $29.55, so I guess it's not that bad. It's just the profit that looks a bit less. Instead of 34, we right now are at 27. But I've never actually added in profit to a bot before, so I wanted to see what it looked like. And I guess I don't know if I'm liking it too much because on a certain end, it looks now as if a profit is less percentage-wise. But yeah, I don't have to at least open another bot then for it, so that's kind of nice. But normally, and this is not something I tell people to, you know, at the end of the day, it's not advice anyway. But this is not something I normally do. Normally, I just go for positions that are down. Like, for example, here it's down 25%. And you add, like, in this case, we already have a trigger at 25 cents. But I could even add now, for example. If we add another, you know, whatever, 500 bucks, you'll see just for fun that we're actually lowering how much we are down then by doing that, right? So in this case here, if we want to add more, perhaps we just make sure it's done neat at like 0.25. We add another $2,000, for example. In this case here, I think we can also take this out again. For example, if we take all the margin out here. Wait, why is this? Wait, what? Okay, not exactly 100% sure how that is happening right now. I want to withdraw. I'm not sure why the liquidation price stays the same here if I take this margin out. Interesting. Yeah, but this is also the nice thing, right? So you sometimes add margin when the times are really tough or you are in for potentially a very big move downwards. But for example, now with Solana, take a look at this, right? We put 3K in at about 179. Right now we are 172. We're still in profit. How? Well, and this is one of those bots where I could be adding towards again, right? Because once more, we are actually, fun fact, still down just because it took a lot of time. The grids have been gridding. And because we bought the dip once, we are up. But matter of fact, it's still not at a profit. Here we could take it out again, the margin. Why? Because if you think about it, the fact that we went and messed about basically in terms of price and never even got close to $90, I don't mind having my liquidation at 114, right? So if I take this out now, I have another $2,000 to my disposal to play around with different bots. And here, for example, this 10K that I put in when things were bad, right? I can now take this full, maybe not the full 10K. I can't take the full $10,000 out here because right now our liquidation is at $2.20. Now, again, I expect the market to be turbulent, but I don't think the probability is very, very high. We go to $2.20 in an instant. But maybe I want it to be just below $2. So I add, for example, I don't know, $4,000 to it. Add 4,000. 6,000 maybe. 8,000, whatever. So we add $8,000 to it. Why? Because my money is not used anyway. And it's just to lower the leverage a little bit, right? By keeping the back end a little bit more clean. Here, there's no margin. Here we have 1,500 in the Altcoin bot, but it's already been able to cash out 25% in grids. If I take this out now, let's see here real quick. You see how much room we have? The price can go down more than 50%. So I can take that out pretty easily and use it, but I don't have to, right? It doesn't matter that much. It's just for the idea. Pepe now is finally back at a profit. Virtuals, we could be buying the dip again because it's minus 30%. I usually only like to buy at minus 50% though. What I just did now is just to show two examples. ETH we were buying, even though it's really, really stupid to do so, right? But again, our main ETH bot in percentages is doing way, way, way better. You can see how it's been doing. If I go find it somewhere, oh, here we go. You can see it's up 140% in the last 2 and a bit months since we started. I'm not touching this one. This is just a new ETH bot we are making for, maximum grid profits, just maximum gains. And by the way, I am going to tomorrow update my entire sheet. Right, so tomorrow is going to be where I do everything in terms of making sure everybody knows exactly what happened to the bots, exactly all the details, all the settings, etc., etc. Right, tomorrow is that day. So if you're worried about Dusty, why isn't your sheet ready yet? Give me another day. I'll look up all the different times I had to compound. I'll look at exactly which prices I did it. I'm going to have to watch like 1,000 videos back. But soon you'll have all the information about everything already in one big doc. So that should be nice as well. I see you guys are screaming that we hit $3. Yeah, but we fell right back through. So, I mean, we can look at the price, but not much changing. Pump it up. You got to pump it up. So meme coins and SOAR going crazy. Wait, 169 is now support, 177 resistance. ETH might go back to 3K again. Could be a short squeeze. I don't mind though. 3K is not that far a dump. Like 10% down before a crazy pump is fine. Dusty, seems better to add than compound. Whatever you feel comfortable with. But add investment to my XRP, this one here, the 10K challenge, I can't do, right? I have to press compound because that was the challenge. Is there any way I could contact you to get some advice? Not really, no. I mean, just ask in the chat, I guess, here on YouTube. Because again, if you're asking on Instagram, if you asked a very specific question, and sometimes, but I would recommend you just go to a stream like you're doing right now, because now you asked me a question. You could have asked something really cool, but you didn't. Because there's 1,001 people who ask the same thing. I'll never give financial advice. At the end of the day, all I can give you is my opinion on stuff. But if you're being very specific with portfolios and all these things, I can't do that for everybody, guys. But if it's a public thing, or you're asking in a public way, then I can hopefully help you out by just asking this chat. The Video Kingdom says, will this be an institutional alt season on specific BTC, ETH, banking coins, AI top coins, RWA coins like Ondo, or will retail come in again after all the scratches they took in 2024? The retail didn't really come back in at 2024. That was whack. What you saw back then was not a bull run, an altcoin season. It was a meme coin craziness. But to a certain extent, it was not that wild. Like the real altcoin season is really, really, really when a lot of people come in from all these crazy different angles. This, what we're seeing right here, is cool, but not that. Is there any other bot you guys would like me to open, by the way? Is there any other position you guys want to see my stats for? And we go. Because you guys made me go for 𝗷𝗫. It was a stupid idea, but give it some time, it'll do well. Sui target for the cycle. Let's go. Sui is not one of my most bullish coins. But then again, Sui seems to always break every single limit. You know, I wouldn't say that I see Sui above like... No, this is so hard. Nah, I'm not going to touch that with a 50-foot pole. What I think is really going to happen to Sui. You know, you see my positions. You see Sui always does good when the market's good. The problem is Sui goes down so hard when the market corrects. Like the upside for it is pretty crazy. I really didn't expect it to be at $6 earlier in the season. Or what was it, like $6 almost? So even now, $4 to me is kind of wild. The fact that it's like 14 billion market cap. But on the opposite angle, I'm thinking, you know what? It's at 14 billion at the start of this season. We could even see probably like a 40 billion or something like that. So tripling here, $12, and it not be too crazy. Hi Dusty, did you do a video on setting up the bots, explaining compound, adding all that stuff? So yeah, I've explained all that. You can watch my video where I bought $500,000 worth of BTC and ETH. You can watch my video where I talk about my 10K $2 million challenge. Those two should suffice for starting, I'd say. Trump is pumping. Okay, that's interesting. Somebody said Melania was the best gainer in the top. Let me see the page number 2. Let's see what's up here. Yeah, Melania is the best performing coin out of everything in the top, I guess, not 100, but almost 100. That's pretty funny. Melania is at 26 cents, though. It's crazy how bad that has done recently. Okay, you're saying AVAX and Link. I think actually, indeed, another bot for Link would also be a very, very nice idea. AVAX, I think, is kind of garbage, not going to lie. Like, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of AVAX. Oh, I should also do AVA, but nobody has seemed to request AVA, but I think it's also one of those coins that's worth getting a little foot in the door for. I should probably get that going. You know that AVA and some coins of that nature are a bit more difficult because the recent shift in price is so high. For example, AVA went from 127 all the way towards 325. So if you're getting yourself some sort of strategy going now, where do you put your lower limit, right? So in this case for AVA, I think like 205, something like that, because that's pretty close to the recent lows. Just below it is where we still would be comfortable buying. We could put the bottom of it though, about 213, maybe 212. Right. And then at the highest point, we kind of always like to do double because these are bull run bots. These are not ones I want to necessarily keep open forever. We want to make sure they maximize profits in the run upwards right now as we expect it to continue, while also being a bit realistic in the sense that if I put 900, it's going to almost buy nothing, but I still want it to be close to the current range. So I'm thinking here for AVA, maybe about $500 or so is about nice for maybe the top, maybe 480. Because previously was able to go to 400. Yeah, so about 480 I think is good. I potentially could do, let's do 488. We could do potentially even a slightly lower top at 440, but from current prices, how much is that up to 440? Yeah, that's only up like 40%. I think that could be hit too quickly. So I'm gonna put 480. We can also change it later though. Then again, let's go for 440. 10% above the all-time high, or the high that it made back then. I'm not sure what AVA's, is there an all-time high that's different for AVA? I don't know. I've been holding AVA since before most of you guys ever touched crypto. It used to be called 𝗓𝗏. This is the crypto that made me most amount of money ever in anything. This is basically what made me a crypto guy. It was the transition from 𝗓𝗏 to AVA. That was the biggest thing I've ever witnessed in my life. It was crazy. Let's do 5,000. It's not up that much. It's easy, okay? I think we're pretty comfortable with that. Do we want to do anything else? No, I think this is nice. So we're opening the AVA bot. You know, I'm only a bit suspicious about this 440 because it's just not that much a move up. But then again, it's still 40%, so I still think it's quite nice. Let's go for it. You see, the problem is because it's such a wide range, it's not going to actually buy that much right here. So relatively, it's actually just more like a 2.5K AVA long. But it's okay. We take those. We've got another one in. And which one else were you guys saying? A lot of people want AVO. But in reality, when I'm looking at it, not that many people care about AVO at all. AVA is way bigger in terms of volume. There's no way to select volume though. Okay. Which else did you guys? Well, AVO's down so much since the airdrop time or the Binance drop time. Never mind. I'm not. Man, I am buying none of this. Screw that. It went from $4 to 11 cents. You know, this is the type of coin you can sometimes make a generational run on. Because if it was $4 really, and it goes back to that, it's a But do I want to be that guy that takes on the risk of a coin that's been permanently down? I don't know. I feel as if that's a battle somebody has to take, but not me. Can you please do a 𝗕𝗂𝘀? I hold 𝗕𝗂𝘀. They have nice cards. They have nice stuff. I wouldn't necessarily be that excited about the coin, but their products are pretty good. Somebody says, I will not name his name, I will not show this. Portfolio creeping up to $250,000, hoping a 10x from here. I think it's doable. My personal thoughts are as well that I think that's doable because we are at a good part of the season. And depending on where you've been able to crawl it up from, yeah, it should be, because I mean, you're busy with it now. Somebody says, what's the best way to get crypto on any exchange? Crypto or Visa? I have never bought crypto a single time through anything card related, so I do not know. Everything I do is crypto, 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 so I wouldn't know how things work talking about buying it with a card. I literally have no idea. All I know is some of those exchanges have the feature on it, where if you go to the top, it has like a buy crypto, you can easily do it with a card, but I've never used the feature myself, so I do not know. And if you're saying, what's the safest way? If we're talking about exchanges and things of that sort, I mean, theoretically speaking, almost any one of them is the same, right? I mean, what safety are we talking about in terms of what are you scared of? Are you afraid of the bank blocking you? Are you afraid of you doing it wrong? It's all quite difficult to know where exactly you are in that sense. If you're more... That's where my chair almost went. If you're afraid of your bank blocking you, then yeah, it depends on what country, what bank you've got. If you're afraid of the platform messing you up, well, then go for a different platform, I guess. Yeah, but lads, I opened one more bot today. I'm pretty satisfied. I want to open a few more, but I'm not buying into this. I'm not buying into something that's been permanently down. You see, you'll see soon that I should have bought AVO at 10 cents here, 11 cents, because it's going to go on a generational run back to $4. I'm going to regret it forever. It's going to be something funny, though. You know, it would be funny to see that happening. Also, I'm thinking, why is the only thing I open a 3x for is a Pengu? The best performer out of all of them, I open 3x. Well, it's because it's scary to buy Pengu at these high prices. Could have done 5x. So you can do, by the way, different leverage. You can do 5x if you want to, by the way. You don't have to blindly go for the highs or lows. You can do 10x if you want to. The thing is, a lot of people will make way better gains than me going 10x, but because I'm explaining this as an example of what I think is nice and what I think can last a long time, I don't like to do 10x. Because I've seen in the last season that a lot of people got wrecked because they over-leveraged, right? That's why I usually max it out at 15 or something like that if I'm doing some of my trades on here. And in general, I try to nowadays do lower because I've seen some people go on a generational run. They put $1 million in and they do really, really well until one move down wrecks them and all of a sudden they're out of the game. And I realize, it might actually be better to tell people, like, even though I'm not a financial advisor, I make you no guarantees, that it's most of the time probably a better idea to make a little bit less gains on the way up just to get yourself longer in the game because you'll make more money over time. Not always the case, though. I've seen people's accounts where they make so much in an incredibly short amount of time that they shouldn't listen to anything I say in that regard. Just go for whatever 50x leverage strategy they've got and make their, $20 million in a freaking week. But it depends. I've also seen people who could have made $3 million in like a few days, all of a sudden lose $500,000 because they had a slightly too high of a leverage. So it depends. But anyway, lads, I'm going to see y'all again another one. I got to head out, right? I'm just in a new country right now. I just landed like a few hours ago, and I realized a lot of people are talking about the voting, etc., etc., etc. I'll be back in a few hours probably with another update. And what I think I should do more is just get more of a Discord or Telegram going as well where people can chat with each other. I'm a bit afraid of people scam each other, but on the opposite side, I'm also thinking if people have easy questions like, hey, card, there should be an easier way for that. Then again, I know Panics also lets you, or I think Blowfin also lets you do card pretty easily. Not 100% sure. Bybit maybe. Check it out. Anyway, boys, that was it for right now. I'll see you guys again in a few hours, probably with another video or another stream. Let's see. That's about it for right now. Thank you all so much for stopping by, saying hi. And maybe if the price goes crazy, I'll also be back.